You go first. I'll follow it up.
We're incredibly disappointed with the result. I think, we have a judicial system where, Ms. Chrisley wins an appeal, her guidelines are substantially reduced, and the court doesn't give her a day of credit. I think when you just talk about public confidence in the courts, it's a concerning result. I think we're also, incredibly disappointed by the personal attacks on family members. That's just uncalled for, and we're evaluating our options about how to move forward. We appreciate everybody's support.
What personal attacks are you talking about specifically?
Were you in the courtdaughroom?
I was there.
Yeah, I think the attacks on
As
Savannah,
she was looking straight at me.
That the attacks, the idea that, that the daughter, that Chloe is not being treated well or sort of being lied to, those were direct attacks at family members. And I've never seen a judge attack family members in the courtroom like that. It's not what sentencing's for.
No, it's not what sentencing's for. And to say that it is for TV ratings or for podcast ratings is laughable, because both of my parents are sitting in federal prison. So this has nothing to do with ratings, and anything that I have said, for her to say that what I said is not factual, I would love to know what steps she has taken to verify or maybe see if the information is accurate. I have spoken about the conditions within our prison system, and conditions and programming are two totally different things. When it comes to the conditions, I have repair reports, I have environmental reports, I have where there's black mold, asbestos, lead-based paint, where they are consuming food that says not for human consumption. So this judge clearly has not done her research when it comes to the conditions. And that is totally different than the programming and how my mother has gone above and beyond.
But specifically, Savannah, about the children and them receiving inaccurate, misleading information about this case, did you feel like she was preaching to you guys?
Yeah, she was looking directly at me.
That's objective what was happening, and I think the difficulty there is, obviously the judge is not in the living rooms of the Chrisley's house. I mean, I've been there, I've seen them talk to Chloe, talk to Grayson. This is incredibly difficult. You have to balance the hope that we think is legitimate in some of these things. I think you poll most attorneys, you get a sentencing reduction of $12 million in the loss amount because the court says the government can't prove it, and they can't. I think it's reasonable to tell the children that there's a chance that mama's going to come home sooner. And so to get attacked in the courtroom with information, for folks who don't understand the criminal justice system, what the court is referring to is things that aren't in the record, right? It's not as if we know what podcast she watched or what video she saw or what things she's concerned about is untruthful. And so it's troubling when the court has at least got in her mind on the day of sentencing, information and facts that aren't really before the rest of us, right? And we can't respond to them. And that's just, I think, an unfortunate way that today went. I understand the government asked for 84 months, and that's ultimately what they got. But, I think as a member of the public, it's reasonable to look at this and say, that doesn't pass the smell test.
And I think you said, your quote was that whether it's 84 months or 64 months, it doesn't contribute to her rehabilitation of her.
No, we've had, especially in recent days, I think folks see some of the problems with our criminal justice system. I think the way that we sentence white-collar defendants is a really good example of that. She's not hurting anybody. She's not going to hurt anybody if she goes home tomorrow. And so the question is, how much punishment, how much blood do you need to extract? And I'd hope today the court would take that into consideration. Surely, the changes that were there and the reduction of the guidelines and the reduction of the loss amount gave the court a basis to do so. But ultimately, that wasn't the result.
The judge said that she never apologized, showed absolutely no remorse. But she did today?
Yeah, she did today, and the court didn't mention it. So, I think that's, again, you hope that the court takes a full view of the individual and of the circumstances. We don't think that happened today, and we'll see if we're going to take further steps to appeal or not. And it's, it's difficult in the family, it's difficult on anybody. No one wants to be in the situation that Julie found herself today, but I'll tell you, having worked with her now for 2 years, she's an extraordinary person and an incredible mother. And, people find themselves who are really good people behind bars, and I think that's a lesson for everybody.
Savannah, you feel like this is an injustice?
This is 100% injustice. And let's face it, we're in Fulton County. We've seen the injustices happen time and time again. And the prosecutors here, they're absolutely ridiculous. And clearly they're uneducated. So what has happened is an injustice, and I will continue to fight for my parents, and I will be as loud as I can possibly be, because the judge clearly showed today that she was using my outspokenness to change a system that is so broken. The amount of children that come to me that don't have the resources that I have, that please help me, please help me, please help my parents. That's what I deal with. And so I'm not just doing this for my parents. I'm doing it for the thousands of other individuals who are incarcerated.
How disappointed are you with today's?
I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed, but the judge showed her cards, and I think if people do their research on this judge and see how many times she's been reversed and remanded back, it'll tell us enough. So we're going to move forward with appealing this sentence, and that'll happen within the next 14 days.
You got emotional when your mother, during her elocution. What did that do to you?
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, especially as a woman, to see how women in the system are treated. For my mother to be in shackles and to be one of 4 women on a plane all full of men. How women are transported is inhumane, and to be told not to eat or drink because if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to walk to the back of the plane. As a woman, it's heartbreaking.
If Mr. Trump gets elected as president, do you plan to ask him to pardon your parents?
I have had no conversation of such with President Trump. The conversations I have had with the president have been nothing but full of love and support, and he's from a human to a human. I spent time at Mar-a-Lago, and he spent a solid 15 minutes speaking to me and just hearing my story, wanting to know more. And people can say what they want about him. They can not like how he says things. They can not like how blunt he is. But when it comes down to it, he has got a heart that loves people and loves people well. And that is who I want running our country.
What did you mouth to your mother when she walked in, you mouthed something to her?
I love you.
And
Do you
just
feel
as
like
she
the
was
judge
about to be
came
let
in-
out by U.S. Marshals, she turned to you, and what did she do? She gave an expression.
Yeah, I told her, well, we knew. That's the thing, and that's what's funny about what the judge said about giving the children false information. The conversation we all had as a family going into this is, keep in mind, nothing good is going to happen.
So you guys have given the children no false
We have
information.
given them no false information.
Do you feel like you walked in here and the judge had already made up their mind, and
The judge has already-
nothing you said was going to make a difference?
Yes, without a doubt. The judge, she had made up her mind, and I truly do believe that a lot of it is very politically driven. And as we said, she made very personal attacks in the courtroom, and we know where she stands politically. And when I speak at the RNC, we know that didn't go over too well.
But she did say that she took into account the validity of those 70 certificates, and she seemed proud of that.
But she didn't. She can say all that she wants to say, but the fact that she chose to not give a 2-point reduction for 0 criminal history, that in itself shows. And then she says she wants remorse. She gets it. She doesn't take it into consideration. You see over 70 certificates, didn't take it into consideration.
When do you get to see your mom again?
As soon as she gets back to Lexington.
Depends how long it takes her to get back to Lexington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This past transport was 6 weeks. 6 weeks. So
Alex, you seem
thank
to
you.
point to the fact that you minimized Julie's involvement in this. You wanted the court to make that clear.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that anybody who watched the trial for the 3 weeks knows that there were 2 people involved, and I think you can't really argue that she was in any way the ringleader or involved in sort of the most important way. I think sometimes when prosecutors prosecute a husband and wife, the individual roles can get lost, and I think it's important to make sure that doesn't happen. I think that may have happened here a little bit, that they were thrown in sort of as the couple, and the couple got punished. I don't think Julie got individual sentencing today, and we're going to have to figure out how we proceed on that point. Thank
How are
you
your
all.
siblings doing?
They're doing well.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.